If you need the best sleeves to protect your best decks, check out Sentry Sleeves using the link below. A pack of sleeves starts at only $10, and a portion of the proceeds goes to supporting local animal shelters. Use code EBAM5 to save 5% at checkout.
Hello everyone, that's Titus, and I'm Austin, and this is Everyone's Bad at Magic, where we untap, upkeep, and punt. First off, some little housekeeping. We have a cEDH 10K going on here in the United States, and I believe it's Thornton, Colorado? North
Yeah.
Glen? Okay. It's on the weird border. Um, it is hosted by MTG Basics, Critical EDH, and Level 7 Games. They're doing a collab, and it is June 13th and June 14th. If you ever wanted to play inside a castle, come out and join us for the siege. Next, oh boy, do I have a punt. I finally played Magic again, boys. I was playing in a pod, and I was playing, I think it was Wheeliod or Tameshi, some blue deck. And I had the board dead to all rights. I just had to untap. And because I had a a Grand Abolisher in play, and was one turn away. Player before me casts Mockingbird, X equals 1. And my brain thought X equals 1, they can get a 1-drop, not a 2-drop. Sitting there staring at an Orange Chant in my hand, and interaction to back it up, and I let it resolve and proceeded to lose the game.
Look, little slips like that happen, all right? Happen to anybody.
I actually think Titus is in that game.
I was. I contributed to the failure there. It's all right.
Speaking of, Titus, you got any punts?
Um, one notable thing that stood out was just kind of choosing a direction of what you want to do within a game. There was a game with a Tim Nadargo, a Rog Thrasios, and a Rog Ashai, and I was playing Rog Silas, and I'm not very
Yeah.
experienced on the list yet. And it was definitely a battle on Tim Nadargo's turn where Rog Thras was trying to win on top and Rogashai was going back and forth and I was contributing. But one of the things was not trying to go for not trying to copy the board upon a wind as immediate in the stack. Should have definitely played out my hand differently. I sacked my Rog Rack to a flare of duplication, and I think we would not have lost the game to the Rog Thras. Well, there's still a good chance we would have lost the game to the Rog Thras. There's a pretty big stack going on, but I would have still had fierce guardianship and deflecting slot. So it's just, looking at eking out a bit more advantage from your resources. So
Mhm.
uh, it is what it is. You learn, you move on. All right. But how about you, MTG? Schusta, do you have any punts that you can recall that stood out to you?
Definitely. Last week we did a tournament prep in our local pod because tomorrow in like 4 hours, tomorrow in like 6 hours, we are attending a tournament that's like once equal in Austria. So let's fucking go. Uh, and I was playing for just for the reason that other people can play against something different stuff because normally I only play Lumra. I played Rockrev Silas. Seed 1 was Krieg, Seed 2 was me on Roxa, Seed 3 was Tayam, and Seed 4 was a Stellar Lee. And I
Ooh.
moved down to 5, and I had a protected Necro, which was super insane because my opponents couldn't do stuff against a Daze. I always was able to get a Underground Seal on turn 1, presented the Necro turn 1 with Daze in hand, and I completely forgot that the Stellar Lee mulled down to 6, had a Gemstone in hand, and had one of her 3 counter spells in her hand out of her entire library. A Mind Break Trap, and I was sitting there like, don't worry, I'll just Daze that. And he was like, I'll pay. And I'm sitting there like, well, sucks to be me, I guess.
Oh no.
Have fun with the game, guys.
It's just bad breaks like that happen sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's always like that. It's so fun. It's so
I,
funny.
And it's like it's super exciting because you feel like you got it, right? It's solid, it's gonna resolve, and then
That's the
unfortunately,
That's the next point. I was thinking to myself while I was trying all that stuff to get the Necro out. Man, only Stella Lee has potentially interaction. If she tries to play the game, she has to pay any mana to start casting spells. Crick was on a slow start, the same for Tayam. And I was thinking to myself, just do the turn 2 Necro, nobody will stop you anyways. And you have the Necro in the hand, and you're like, fuck it, we bought him. And it didn't work. Ah! But it's like you play a deck you have never played before, and you just make those mistakes, especially because when you only play mono green, you don't think about they could have interaction.
you
That's one of
just
the issues. Yeah.
you just push through anyways.
Yep.
I got another one though, if that matters. A really fun one.
Yeah, go for it.
I was playing today, recording some content for the channel, and I wanted to present a win, but an opponent had a Mayhem Devil in play. And if you try to loop Lumra, you normally sacrifice permanents. And my thought process was, bro, I'm just gonna Talon Gates it. And after the game, all of us realized that the Mayhem Devil player had a Sylvan Safekeeper in play, but he forgot also about the activated ability. It was so fun. I mean, if I just went for the mirror pool line in as fast as possible, it wouldn't have mattered. But the fact that we both forgot about it was super insane and dumb at the same time.
But it worked in your favor, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
but like we both made the big mistake. None of the players realized that, especially because in the same game as well, I activated Guy Reed's Sanitarium in response to a Smothering Tithe cast, and my camera is straight in front of my screen, and it was directly covering up the Orcish Bowmaster of that player.
Oh
And
no.
and one player stole another player's Drell of Magistrate, and we all were like, okay, we're just chilling, guys, because nobody can do stuff anyways. And then the OBM player, well, I'm just gonna shoot the Magistrate then. And I was sitting there like, Jesus fucking Christ, what did I just do there? This game was pure cinema, it was unbelievable.
It sounds so much fun though.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Feel like that's what people look forward to in a game of Magic, right? All the random variables that take place.
Especially when you're
Yes,
like just having fun.
Except
yeah.
sometimes when they're not random and you see them right there. You do it, but you do it anyways. Yeah.
Definitely.
So
All
we
right.
kind of alluded to it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Schusta?
Yo, guys, it's me. It's Schusta, aka the Lumra guy. I've started my YouTube channel in November of 2025 simply because I wanted to play Lumra and I found no content about her. And I was like, okay, I finally know how the lines work, how the deck interacts with everything. And then I started just put out content, and not gonna lie, it's so fun to see people enjoying the deck as well, playing it because I'm doing the content. And I also find it so nice, and it feels so good to be on the Lumra Discord and people tell you like, yo, Schuster, thank you for the content. I learned something new. And it's just, we're all a great community. And I love it when people try to learn in a safe space, something new, and try to be as nice as possible. Because one of Tyler, you said you were watching, you were speedrunning my content, and if you saw the game of good players versus attitudes, that was like one of the worst times of my life in terms of Magic the Gathering, because you're single eye and getting bullied for just playing the game as good as you possibly could in terms of the board state. And I wish no one has to ever be in a situation like that. I already talked about it with all the people besides the Tenofrasius player, but we're all good now, I think. So the most important thing is to communicate. And if you're not happy with a situation because you feel targeted, not in game, but rather verbally, just say it. And if they are still not capable of understanding this is not okay what they're doing, you are allowed to leave. It's still a game, and you don't have to be mentally punished or bullied if we want to go this far. So stay safe, guys. And besides that, mostly I'm just playing Magic the Gathering with my friends, go to the gym, and work like everybody else besides the people that study.
Yeah. How did you get started in Magic the Gathering? Did you start straight into CDH or did you start in Casual Commander 60 card?
So my friend group and I were playing the Pokemon TCG because I said, yo guys, you wanna check it out?
Mhm.
And we started playing it every Friday until one of the guys said, yo, let's play Magic the Gathering. And I was like, no man, I don't want to pay the big bucks for the game. Yo, we can just proxy, don't worry. I was like, no, I'm not interested. And then week after week after week, the people didn't want to play Pokemon and they played Magic at this other guy's house. And at New Year's Eve 2023 to 2024, I was like, you know what, guys, fuck it, I'm playing one game with you. And it was fucking miserable. Imagine playing your first game of Magic the Gathering and you have to play a poison deck, but not with Atrax as commander. it was it was pure cinema. I was sitting there like I had no idea what to do and just waiting for it to be over. And at one point I was like, I want to understand the game. And then I put way too much time into the game. Yeah, and we started off with casual, obviously. But at some point, my friends wanted to play cEDH because the power curve always got
Mhm.
higher, higher, and higher. And I was always talking about I don't want to play cEDH because the games end on turn 3, right?
You're looking
Yeah,
for those good turn 11s, right?
yeah, definitely. No, and at one point it was like, what do I play? And then I found Play to Win, and I saw that Briar, if you know the Celestial Winner Gaming YouTuber, he has a friend that is named Briar who plays Rakdos the Muscle and already fell in love with the deck. And even
Mm.
though I don't run it anymore, I still have Rakdos the Muscle in my Tumnadago deck, just as my personal pet card if you want to play it, because I think it's a really cool way of playing. And I think the sacrifice to win translated really good into the Lumra deck.
That's a really cool way of like transitioning between what you've done in the past to Lumra, though. That's wild. So you said New Year's is when you started
New
playing
Year's Eve.
Magic? Was
Correct,
that
exactly the 31st.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Was that also in 2025 or is that
No,
earlier?
from 2023 to 2025 to 2024 on the exact day. We started the game in 2024 and it ended in 2025. 23 to 25 snow guys. Was really funny.
Heck
Girlfriend
yeah
was
though.
not happy about it.
uh so on your channel you play cEDH a lot and a lot of Lumra.
Yeah,
Is there
definitely.
any other format that you played?
Besides Commander, specifically in Magic the Gathering, I only play Commander. I used to play. I played like 4 or 5 game of Standard because one of the friends
Hmm.
said like, "Yo, if we meet up for Commander and one of our guys is not here yet, and normally one of our players is at least half an hour late, we could
Hmm.
jam some Standard games." And the problem was I bought myself, I think it was the 2022 or 2021 Gruul Stompy deck from Magic the Gathering. Straight's the
Hmm.
pre-built deck that won some tournament. I don't know. And I thought to myself, okay, it will be probably good enough to play. And then my homie came in with the three highest ranked meta decks of the current time. And I'm sitting there like, I have a mech them play. And he's hitting me for 50 damage on turn 3.
Yeah, little might not be the most balanced.
Power creep is real. Power creep.
And then I was sitting there like, bro, now I feel what people have to endure when they play against pub stompers.
You said you played a lot of Rakdos the Muscle first. What
Yeah.
led you to play Lumra from there?
The most fun thing in Magic the Gathering was always for me to play something that's fun and does unique stuff. Like, sure, we know Timnacrom is the strongest deck in the format, but at the end it's just card draw. And I think that's
Mm.
pretty boring if you play it on a regular basis. Sure, if you want to compete at the top level, it's necessary. But I was always like, sure, I want to win, but I want my deck to have a specific identity. For example, Rakdos the Muscle is like you sacrifice your own creatures to generate value or even disturb the enemy's top deck shenanigans. After Rakdos the Muscle, I played some Glab, the guy from Bloomborough, the Sultai one. It
The
was
frog. You get to cast spells 4 or greater from the top of your library, has Surveil 2, if
yeah.
I'm
It,
correct.
yeah. It
That's a very big difference.
exactly. And here's Death Touch. I really enjoyed the deck because of its complexity and that you can like play a verse Kinnan, I'd argue, because at least I played it that way, to play some big stompy things that control the table. But at some point I was like, it's not fun if you have a control, a turbo, a stack, and something else, and you are always supposed to counter the turbo player. But the stacks deck just outvalues you at some point because, like I mentioned before, we have a Tayam 1 trick in our pot, and it's really cool to learn new lands every single game because at one point you will have to face someone like that in a tournament.
Mhm.
But in this specific case, Tayam outgrinds Glab no matter how hard you try. That's the problem. And at one point, I was like, okay, it's not fun to play that deck anymore because I know I will lose every game I play against Tayam. Same with Joyra, Ageless Innovator. That's the one you tap, put two Ingenuity counters on her, and then you put an artifact with X or less mana value equal to Joyra's Ingenuity counters on her into play. That's the same exact thing. You can play it, but the moment you do that, the Tayam player who only plays Tayam gets the collective move in, and then you're just, okay, I don't even play that deck anymore because you only try to play with artifacts. So
Been there.
it's not that fun. And after Club, I tried some new decks from my friends as well. I played some Yuriko, Winoda, Magda, all that stuff because it just was interesting to me. But at some point, I wanted to play once again something that has a personality, an identity. And at some point, I just found, what do I play now? I don't play green whatsoever. And then it hit me. I saw it on YouTube. A chunky girl. Her name is Lumra. And I was like, I gotta do it. And this was right around before Edge of Eternities was released. So Lumra was not that good. Because in Edge of Eternities, we got Horizon Explorer, Astil Explorer, Famished Sire, all that stuff. And those 3 cards alone made the deck so much stronger. And at that point, everyone was like, you are playing a meta deck. And I was saying like, bro, I don't even know how the deck works yet. How am I supposed to play a meta deck? No, it was super fun. And afterwards, I played some Tim Nadago, still have the deck completely ready to play. I also played Kinnan, but I think the deck is pretty boring to play. Sure, at the beginning it's fun to do big mana stuff, but after like 5 or 6 games, it's just like, no matter if you win or not, it's just boring. I understand what people play because it's strong, but I can't endure it myself, sadly.
It's the same reason why I haven't put it together. I have all the pieces. I just refuse to put it together.
Understandable.
So if, spoiler alert, if no one knows, you're from Austria, right?
Correct.
That means, if no one's gathered already, the cEDH scene there is very different from what we have here in the United States, especially here in Colorado. Have you ever been to a tournament abroad? Or have you just done cEDH in Austria?
Actually, I've been only playing cEDH in Austria with my kitchen table. Sure, we
Whoa.
found one single pot that's like 20 minutes away from us, funnily enough, through another friend. But besides that, we started playing tournament cEDH like 1 year ago. It was pretty hard to find something because I don't know how you guys do it. We look over top deck, which tournaments are in general in our area, and we have once a quarter a tournament in Vienna, the capital of Austria. And it's so weird because when I started to play cEDH, it was generally just mid-range hell, if you'd say. And then again to this tournament, and I'm seeing the players, and they're all like turn 3 when attempting. And I'm sitting there like, I don't even play collective. What am I supposed to do here? No, it was so weird to get into a turbo meta and play a deck that doesn't do anything before turn 4. It was so fun. And besides that, like I have been now on 3 tournaments. The first, I was like 21st out of 24, 25 player because it did absolutely nothing. The second tournament was in Germany at the border between Austria and Germany. It was in Rosenheim, I think. And this went a little bit better, but I realized if I would have been a better player, I wouldn't have been 0-2-2. rather 1-1-2. But I think that's just practice you have to get in because
Mhm.
sure,
Right.
you want to push. I was not expecting. I was not expected to do anything in this tournament as well because of the first experience I had. But it was a totally different meta. I was not expecting to get that far, and I was already happy about getting a win attempt on every single game. This was fun enough. Funnily enough, one time someone tried to win on top of me. The second one I literally lost because the Itali player, one seat before me, did 2 Itali flips, and both Itali flips T-bolted one of my untapper and one second out of mine, out of a Magda player. This was the only reason I lost. It's so unlucky, but sometimes you just can do stuff here. Sometimes it is what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
luck comes into play. You know, we're
Mhm.
just trying to make the best of it statistically, but unfortunately, kind of like the situations where the days they had the 1 mana available.
And my last tournament I played in, I got actually, I think, sixth place out of 24. But honestly, I didn't deserve that one. Because
Hmm.
the only win I got was because every single player in this pot died to something really stupid. The first player, it was Obnixilis, Crick, me and Lumra, and a Stola player. The Crick player died because of my combat damage, because he had no way of winning the game. It was super disgusting. And the Stola player died to a Pact of Negation, and he forgot he didn't have the 2 blue mana sources.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then the Obnixilis player tried to win attempt. It was pretty insane, but he didn't see my vexing power because of the angle he was sitting. It was
Mm-mm.
really covered by my top deck, and he was like, okay, I'll now present the loop with LED. And I'm sitting there like, how are you supposed to do that, man? Well, guess I just lose. And then I won my first cEDH game with combat damage. It's so sad. Not even with commander damage, just with normal damage. Famished rolls are like 2020 and a Basting Saillions with a 2-2, and with that I won. It was so sad.
Hey, look, a win's
So
a win.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was gonna say.
definitely my goal is to win one game of cEDH this year in a tournament with actually playing Lumra and not winning with another style.
You should also feel good about that tournament because the best I've ever done in a tournament, I went 1-1-2, but my only
Same.
win was a bye.
This was my first tournament,
I
actually. I
made 8th
feel it,
place.
man.
I made top 16 cut. So you should feel
Cheers,
good about that.
working class.
At least you won your game.
Ah, now the opinion split, but thank you for the kind words here.
So, do you at least get to see a variety of playstyles online?
Yeah, definitely. I gotta say, because the meta in my local pod is pretty stale, I gotta be honest here, because we have the Tayamon trick, obviously. Another player mostly plays Crick, the 14th Doctor, I think it is, the one with the cast ability to copy another Doctor in his graveyard. It's pretty jank, but also pretty fun to watch.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's like a food chain deck, right?
yeah, definitely. Right. And then he wins with the other Doctor's ETB effect of making infinite food tokens, clue tokens, and treasure tokens.
That's
Right.
cool, actually.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
It's
Sally happens rather rarely.
Yeah, it's the secret layer doctor they
Mm,
did.
100%, yeah.
Oh, that would
Mm,
explain why I don't
mm.
recognize it.
Don't worry, I wouldn't know it as well if I didn't play with him.
Hey, look, in the past, some people, I believe, got wins on the Celestial Toy Maker or whatever the toy
Yep,
maker's name is.
that deck is really cool though.
What is it doing?
So the Celestial Toymaker says, whenever it attacks, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Exile any number of them in a face-down pile and the rest in a face-up pile. Defending player chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses 2 life for each spell or ability that caused one or more players to guess or group
Jesus
cards
fucking
or
Christ.
permanents into a pile this turn. And it is
Brother.
Esper, just straight
Yeah.
flat.
Yeah.
It's
Why
actually
is this
really cool.
why is this guy looking like Barney Stinson?
Because because the toy maker, I believe, was played by Neil Patrick Harris. I could be wrong, but I do think.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah, so the meta in my local pods is pretty stale because it's always like more or less the same. And I gotta say, in playing online, it's always fun to see other decks. You have so much variety, and it's so cool. That's why I love to play on Spell Table, or rather Convoke now, because the variety, I just love it. Even though some of the games obviously you can't win because the matchup is not in your favor, but I use it as a learning opportunity to know what I'm supposed to do against the deck in the future. So
Yeah, 100%.
I love it.
Was there any particular reason, or other than it being green, that you fell in love? What did you call her? Big Chonky?
The big chunky girl.
Big Chonky girl. God, I love Cocaine Bear.
Like I mentioned before, my most important criteria for playing a cEDH deck, when I'm not trying to win, just having a good time, is that the deck has to have some kind of personality or
Mm.
a way to play the game that's not just generic. And I thought to myself, okay, there is a bear that enters, returns all lands into play, and then I don't win through spells or damage. I just do land shenanigans.
Mm.
And I was like, that sounds so fun. Especially because no one knows how it works, so it's really hard to learn it yourself. And at one point, people are just thinking, like, what is this guy doing? Like, like last week at the tournament prep, I was sitting there for 20 minutes trying to do something because my opponent endurance my graveyard when I was trying to win attempt. And for whatever reason, with a combination of Isle Explorer, Lumra, Aftermath Analyst, and way too much luck, I ended up getting a win, even though my complete graveyard was put into my library back. It was like 20 or 25 cards, and I still managed to do it. And the people were just sitting there like, we should start another game. This takes way too long.
Yeah, I usually compare Lumra or even the Wandering Minstrel to a modern deck, Prime Time, or with Primeval Titan and stuff, or Amulet Titan. I'm sorry.
I have heard about that in the Lumra Discord.
It's
Could you
basically the
explain it
same
to me,
thing.
please? I never understood it.
Yeah. So the namesake card is Primeval Titan. When it enters or attacks, search your library for up to 2 land cards and put them onto the battlefield. I believe tapped, because it requires Amulet of Vigor too.
Amulet.
Yeah.
There are several ways that the deck has evolved over the years. I don't know what the current win con is. It used to do things with like Dryad of the Elysian Grove, making all your lands into mountains, and using Valakut Awakening, or sorry, Valakut Molten Pinnacle.
Yes. Yeah.
Whenever a mountain enters, if you control like 5, you can bolt any target.
That's hot.
There's mirror pool loops where you just make infinite copies of Amulet Titan and then, or sorry, Primeval Titan, and then just swing, killing your opponent. I think for a while it was on Shifting Woodland and Aftermath Analyst loops. It probably still is because it's just good. So it wins in a very variety of ways. It's a very old deck and very complicated. So you playing the cEDH version of it, Godspeed.
Yeah, it's so cool. Especially because you have so many different ways of winning, because Timurkron, for example, only has fastest into Decon or Tainted Pact, or brain freezing your opponents and then letting them draw, for example, Fairy Mastermind. I don't even think they are on Fairy Mastermind anymore, because in general it's not that good of a card if you play Blue Farm, because there are way better options. In Lumber, you have the Sunscorch. There's a loop to ping your opponents to death. You can hit them all to death with a big Veil of Devastation. You can make a loop of Passing Say to have infinite +2/+2 hasty lands. You can also draw your opponents out with a Gaia Reach Sanitarium loop to draw them all out, and they can't really respond to that because you put activation on top. And if all strings break, you can just Boseiju all their permanents, Talon Gates their creatures, and completely drain them from any resources and then just hit them to death at one point. So there's so many different ways to win it with her. That's it's just so fun to have so many different options.
I love that you love it. It's such a weird deck, and it's so cool.
But why else would the thing is, why would you play a deck if you're not enjoying it? That's
Yep.
my opinion. Like, you need to have a smile on your face when you talk about it if you really like to play it.
That's why I play a lot of Fringe.
What is your current Fringe deck?
Oh Lord. Actually, I have a lot of meta decks put together right now. That's really bad. My favorite Fringe deck I've ever played though is Orvar the All Form.
Oh my God.
He is so weird.
Yeah.
That makes lands too.
It does
Mhm.
make lands.
Mhm.
3 generic, 1 blue. He's a changeling.
Mhm.
Whenever you target a permanent on your side of the board, make a copy of it.
Yeah, it's so cool.
The last line of text technically has come in effect once. It reads, if you were to discard this card, make a copy of any target permanent on your side of the board.
Mm.
I have actually
It's
used
so-
that in a cEDH game.
How does this deck win? Because I tried to build it myself, but it was like on turn 5 you have 70 lands, but still no real way to win the game apart from Walking Ballista, I guess.
So eventually you end up making infinite islands,
Correct?
generating infinite blue mana.
Mhm.
And from there, you can either win by making infinite Cephalid Colosseums and making your opponents draw
Mhm.
their entire decks.
Mhm.
They went eventually to Ipnu Rivulet, which is a weird blue land from Amonkhet that says
Oh
sacrifice
yeah.
a desert, target player mills 3 cards, I believe.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
You just make an infinite number of them. They're already deserts, so you just sacrifice them.
Mhm.
Or if you don't have access to either of those for whatever reason, because they're both lands,
Mhm.
you could hardlock the game because you're making infinite copies of things.
Mhm.
Most Orvar decks run Vincer Shaper Savant, I believe is the title. 2 generic, 2 blue, flash. When it enters the battlefield, return target non-land
Oh yeah.
permanent or spell to its owner's hand. So if your opponent's trying to do anything, you just basically pseudo counter it and
Mhm.
remove all their permanents so they can't play the game, and so you just slowly outvalue them.
Man, it sounds so fun.
It's
What's the
so bad.
turn? Yeah. What's the turn you normally win on? Because I think it's really hard to get a bit toward before turn 4, correct?
Yes, so you require a
Yeah.
commander for any win
Mm.
con, which is 4 mana
Mhm.
already.
In mono blue.
You need to somehow reduce the costs of your blue spells, either
Mhm.
Sapphire
Mhm.
Medallion, Helm of Awakening, something like that, because you need to
Mhm.
get Whim of Volrath, clock spinning down to cheap, and then so you can start looping it. So it's a lot
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
setup.
Yeah, yeah, I see, I see. But that's the brewer's advantage, I guess, because nobody understands what you're doing, and you're probably not either.
Yep. If you are given enough time, it's over by the time they realize what's happening.
I think in the current meta, it's just not possible to get to that
Nope.
point, right? It's not feasible, sadly.
Uh,
Ugh.
is there any specific game that you can remember that is like iconic for you that you just is a favorable memory that you just have sitting in your mind? Not necessarily on Lumra, possibly Rakdos the Muscle, Dargothras.
I gotta say, there are 3 moments I can remember at this specific point that were pretty fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
My second ever cEDH game on a deck of mine was on Rakdos the Muscle,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a Talion in play, a player. And he casts Talion on turn 3 and says, I think I say 3. And then I proceed to play like 15 spells with CMC2, and he was sitting there like, this was the last time I'll ever take 3. It was so fun. You always take the 2. I mean, it was like, it has been like 2 years ago, and the Talion player is probably the strongest player in our social pod. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely in that regard, he learned way more in the time than I did. But it's just funny when someone tries a new deck and they don't exactly know how it works yet, and then they make this mistake, even though we all knew at that point even though we all didn't know it was one at this exact moment. Then also in a Rector style situation, because I played Tim Nadago, and I had, to this day, when I have a 15% win rate on Tim Nadago whenever I play my local pot, for whatever reason. I don't know. Because when I play online, I normally storm through turn 3 or turn 4 and nobody can do shit against it. Anyways, I had one single game where I completely popped off. I got a win attempted on turn 2, but the Tayam player, for whatever reason, had a collective turn 2 in play and now tried to win with Tim Nadago while I collective was in play. And then I'm like, okay, I top deck a culling of the week. I sacrifice my greedy freebooter, sacrifice him, get a treasure token, have 4 black mana, then I use a land to exile the collector oof for 3 turns, because there's a enchantment for one white mana that says exile target non-land permanent and put 3 counters on this enchantment. A static prison, correct?
Yeah.
I cast a static prison and exile the collector oof with 2 energy counter on it, and in each of my upkeeps and pre-combat main phases, I sacrifice the static prison until I pay 1. And then I also, funnily enough, had a Boulder Citadel in my hand. And on turn 2, I was able to play like 5 cards. Everyone was hoping I don't get a single land. And then I find the Necro. It was so funny. That's the only time I did anything with Tim Nadago. It was so hilarious. And then
We take
against
those,
the
though.
fucking collective.
Oh, yeah, even with that'll make things a lot more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It's always hard to pilot as artifact strategy if you play against a stacks player, sadly. But
Yep.
sometimes it just works, funnily enough. And
Titus is
anything.
aficionado stacks.
I'm not a stacks player. Apparently, they just love to show up in my games, though.
I feel it, man. People always say Lumra is a stack as well, even though you play like 7 or 8 pieces max, and you just try to disrupt the table a little bit until you get to turn 4, and then you just do land stuff.
Exactly. Got to be able to work with what you're given in that color pairing, and utilize those resources. I've tried to here or there. It's definitely from what I gathered and listened to, the people that really love it, it's something where you really have to think about how you're playing that game, and even communicating with the table. We talked to a Tyon player prior as well, and it's like, yeah, it's a heavy conversation deck.
Yeah. I don't win, guys. I can flip into the win, but I don't win, guys.
I don't know. It's a coin flip.
Want to
But
open a loot box with me, guys?
but yeah. But another question too, regarding the local area with cEDH. Is there a lot of just casual commander play in general around you, or is just Magic kind of limited?
With definitely several places where we could play Commander, but in general, the people are more interested in the casual side. I wouldn't say it's an issue, but if you know what you want to play and there is no place to play it, and you have like one, at least at max 2 groups that are capable of playing it, because funnily enough, there is a shop like 40 or 45 minutes away from my home where we could play in theory cEDH, but the problem is that they have a specific ban list. They play with the list before they ban Jeweled Lotus, the Dockside Extortionist, Mana Crypt, and I'm sitting there like, why would I play that? It's not the official meta. Like, if you do it at home, okay, but in an official shop, it's like, it weirds me out. I'm sorry to say that. So there's not that many opportunities. Sure, I could drive like 2 hours every Saturday to Vienna to play there, but we are all grown people and we don't have the time, sadly.
Yeah.
Right, 100%. Yeah. Well, one of the benefits I think though is that, if people see you playing locally, the one thing is they may, garner interest from it. Sometimes it just takes that like exposure to be able to see something
Mm.
and then be like, hey, I would like to try that as well. Can you show me how to bear loop on people?
I was actually talking like 1 year ago with my friends as well, why we don't just play in a social setting, like one of the shops we have in our city, for example. And the problem is most don't want to do that. They want to stay at home and don't want to be there because every place has annoying or rather
Hmm.
strange people. And what can I say?
We all
It,
have
Yep.
that.
let, I don't want to name call. Let's just say if you want to buy a collector booster box and the owner of the shop asks one of the regulars if they want to buy it, they answer with, if nobody else wants to buy it, I'll just take it. And then the shop owner says to you, sorry, man, sold out. I don't think I want to support that shop. That's so weird. That weirded me so out because that's one of the things this friend of mine told me. And this
Hmm.
something like that happened to me as well. It's you want to support a local shop, you try to do it, but you can only do it if you're a regular customer. But
Hmm.
you can't be a regular customer if you don't get products. So it's a
Gotcha.
little weird to me. And if you don't play at the shop because people don't want to go there, and there are always some people that just don't have the social skills
Hmm.
to know what to do in specific situations. I get that. We all have been there. But I also understand why my friends don't want to be in the situation because the week is long and we don't want to spend time with people that are annoying.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
understandable. Well, social battery wise.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I think with time, like even look at what we have available to us now, like Spell Table, Convoke, just being
Mhm.
able to have online play is very great. And just seeing the growth in general and the more people grow, getting interested in the game and in this format, there's definitely opportunities with time down the road that maybe things change and surrounding environments change as well.
Definitely. Because you mentioned the growth through from the internet, for example, it was so fun to me. The first ever game that popped off on my channel with like I think it has now 1.2K views. For me personally, it's really much. I don't know if you see that other in another way. Anyways, that video got uploaded, and a week later, I was playing with the other local pod. We have been playing like that's the second or third session, and then one of them is like, "Yo, Schusta, I didn't know you have a YouTube channel," and I'm saying like, "Hey, yo, what the fuck did you just say to me?" And he's like, "Yo, we all got it recommended in our For You page," and I was saying like, "No fucking way!" And at this moment, I knew it. I'm famous.
Is there anything on your 2026 bingo card for Magic that you're looking forward to or want to try to make happen?
I definitely want to make better content, but that's something you always want to do, obviously,
Hmm.
because you want people to enjoy the videos you put up. And I can only do that if I take the time for that. But I have been struggling with that for a long time. Like most of my videos get finished around 2 hours before the upload is ready. So it's
Oh,
always a struggle. And the
all right.
thumbnails for my videos gets created by my girlfriend because she uh, learned how to do that in school. So thank you for being my girlfriend.
It's always
And
good to have a
besides,
support group.
yeah, definitely. And besides that, I think the only goals I have are getting for me personally, really win in a tournament and maybe as well do a top four. Would be pretty cool because I told myself if I ever get in the top four pot, I will buy a gold raced foil Lumra. And that shit is like 700 or 800 euros.
Oh,
I think it's like I could import it from I think could import it from America and would be less expensive than buying it straight up here at this point.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. A lot of the times our cards are cheaper to import them from overseas, like Japan or like Europe or something. That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Then it
Mm-hmm.
also is the reverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fuck the 30% tax be like.
Yeah. Ah, no, 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 no. So you've been playing Magic for some time and CDH for basically the entire time. Is there a pivotal time in a game, like a pivotal punt, that steered you in a certain direction, either for the better or for the worst?
There is one specific game. When I read that, I was like, this is the exact moment I knew what I want to talk about. There was this game, I had like 3 casual decks. It was Finn the Fangbearer. It's a poison counter deck that tries to win with that, and it never worked. Then I had the Scarab God deck. This was a mill deck to mill my opponents out and then win the game with that, and a Miriam Sentinel Worm deck. This is like pure value. You play a Drake, and you get a double Drake, and it is not legendary, so you just get double the value whenever you do that. And it was rather eye-opening to me because there are definitely games where you just win the game whenever Miriam is in play for one turn cycle. And there are obviously other games where someone just counters it and it is your entire game plan to get Miriam out on turn 4. And then on turn 5, you try to do stuff. And if it gets countered every single time, you are obviously just sitting there like, okay, what am I even doing here? I could just obviously go. And especially in casual, I think that's a big problem for new players because if they can't do their thing, they are mad and don't know what they're supposed to do. And this was one of the pivotal moments in my life in terms of Magic the Gathering because I thought to myself, isn't it wrong that I think that way? Because now, whenever I play with other people and I can't do stuff I want to do, I'm just hyped about other players doing the thing and see interesting interactions. And I think that's one of the, like I said before, pivotal moments in Magic when you have to decide, okay, is it fun for you to watch other players play the game as well if you're not able to do that? Or are you a little crybaby that is always annoyed if it can't do its thing? This was probably one of the more important moments in my life in Magic because I also had to reflect on my personality as well. Because I wasn't able to sit through that. And I was always like on my smartphone whenever that shit happens. And honestly, I think if you play with other people, if you check your phone, it's totally fine once or twice through the game if there is nothing important going on, obviously. But it also is not respectful against your other players because if you are trying the thing, if you're trying to do the thing, you'd be happy if other people look at it as well. Because if you don't do it, you could also just play single player Goldfish or rather solitaire, to be honest. So think about it, people, whenever you play, look at the stuff your opponents do because they would be happy as well if you do that.
Yeah, it's really one, the social aspect, and Magic, the emphasis gathering.
I always see the memes of I have the magic, but where's the gathering?
I feel that. One of my homies I met through playing Spell Table. Shout out to my boy Value, by the way. He told me the cEDH meta, the cEDH community is rather small in his country, so he loves to play cEDH online because there are always people to play with him. So ask your friends, guys, what's the worst they can say?
They say no. Okay, move on.
Yeah, sure.
I think the main takeaway here is, hey, you move on and you just look for the next new opportunity, right? We have bad games, we have good games. I think the main takeaway is like just having a good mentality about it. And one of the things that you kind of referenced was like, am I happy for the other people as well? Or like, am I being distracted and just being on my phone because I was not able to do the thing, right? And I think one of the things is just, being able to be happy, being in that environment, seeing other people who maybe saw a line, so on and so forth, something like that.
Especially with Commander, cEDH, casual, whatever it may be, having the bonus of 4 people, it's less about the competitive aspect like 1v1 is, and more about the social interaction. I've played games that have gone 4 hours long.
Let me guess. It was a casual game.
Oh, absolutely. And it was also like 8 people.
Oh my god. Oh.
But it was a blast.
Oh my god. Let me cast Tox will be like.
I think there was a few farewells and like days, cyclonic rifts and stuff.
God damn it. Ugh. I think Farewell was something that is way worse than a Cyclonic Rift in the casual pot.
Oh, absolutely. There's a reason it made it to the game changers list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
What are your Magic the Gathering bingo goals for 2026?
I need to judge a lot more tournaments. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to keep my certification. I would like to also play in a bunch of tournaments, if I'm being honest.
Do you have any idea what deck you want to play? Or
I play a bunch of Tameshi, Reality Architect, and
Mhm.
I put together VV Orniteer, and I'll be playing it tomorrow. So
explain to me why Vivi over Rel? I'm a professional Rel hater, by the way.
It's because we love the character.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. And how do you consistently win with Tameshi? Because I think the win line is through Tameshi with its activated ability, but it's sorcery speed, correct?
Mhm.
So people can just easily do stuff on top.
Sort of. Being in Azorius, you have a lot of the sounds effects, as well as most of Tameshi's loops are uninteractable.
Because
It's
of
just
activated
great.
abilities, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I always laugh when people say it's uninteractable, and then I'm sitting there like, if you would know, brother, did you ever play against Tayam?
I have Tayam put together also.
I wasn't playing. I was just observing the game. Saw how you were trying to stop somebody into you turned into winning.
Yep. Welcome to
That's how,
Tayam.
that's how it goes, right?
Yep.
Because I was talking about this pretty often in today's video, I don't hate Tayam. I just have the problem, it always fucks me when I play Lumra, that's why. So no hate against Tayam players. I like the deck, but once again, fuck Rel.
I think Ral is too fragile, and that's coming from a VV player.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask in addition to that. For you, Austin, why VB over Ral? Is it just that you can do weirder shenanigans and maybe Ral is just too linear in some ways?
So that is a very good question, especially since my modern deck of choice is Ruby Storm, which plays a 4 of Ral. I love spell slingers, and I love the interaction between the spells and my commander because I like commander centric decks. Ral, I feel Ral's a tool, a lot like Blue Farm. I don't want my guaranteed card that I have every game to just be a tool. I want it to be an engine outlet, something. And VV is that. It is a tool, but it's also an outlet or an engine.
That's a really good explanation. Holy shit.
Plus, my VV is prettier than my Ral.
Understandable.
So, Schusta, are you planning if you have a tournament coming up, correct?
Yeah, in 28 hours.
Are you playing Lumra for that event? And do you plan to play Lumra just moving forward at the bigger events?
Honestly, I know how the meta works in Vienna, so I wanted to try Nissa. Nissa is my, I'd argue, second strongest deck. We use in our local pod playgroup.gg to track our games, and Lumra is like place fourth with a 40% win rate. And Nissa is completely busted for whatever reason. I played like 8 or 9 games and I only lost a single game. So I was thinking about, okay, if the meta Vienna is a little bit more a little faster, why not try the faster version of Lumra? Sure, it's easier to break, but if you play against fast decks or decks that generally don't have that much interaction against specifically lands, I'd argue, it's easier to get back with that deck, I'd say. So I want to see how it works. I will probably get completely shit stomped because I don't have any way to slow opponents down. But apart from that, no, I just want to try it, and I will definitely keep on playing Lumra because that's one thing I didn't mention before. I think one of the problems in terms of the tournament play in Austria is that in the entire reach of Austria, if there is a tournament or on the border of Austria, you have the ruling of you are only allowed to proxy reserved cards and up to 15 non-reserved cards. And
Gotcha.
that's
Yeah.
if you are not playing if you are not a complete 120% Magic the Gathering player, you are not willing to spend that much money.
Mhm.
Even myself, I don't have any reserved cards for my Lumra Bell of the Woods deck or any Moxes, and I still paid like 1,200 euros for that just to have the base version. And if you bling it out, don't get me started. So I
Yeah.
think that the pay barrier is also a big problem here. But if the interest in cEDH would be higher in general, I think there would be a incentive for the shop owners to make that to change it to fully proxy friendly. But right now there's no such thing,
Yeah.
sadly.
We actually had a very similar issue in our local meta, and then so many people like boycotted it that we were able to break it. And you probably, from the sounds of it, you don't have the backing for cEDH to be able to do that, which unfortunately feels bad, but you will probably get there one day, and it might be
Hopefully.
sooner than you think.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think accessibility is a big thing for getting people into stuff, right?
Mhm.
I think that's why you see certain games being popular when most of your any of your financial investment is in the skins, right? You know, and you just get to play and you just need a system or something like that.
League of
PC.
Legends.
Yeah, 100%. Why it was so easy to get into. You could have a potato and be somewhat functional.
That's true. That's true.
There's actually been people who've
Uh,
played off their phones even. Like,
yeah, Wild Rift Rat,
So,
man.
yeah,
Uh,
but hopefully that changes because I know that like I think a lot more areas because not everywhere here, uh, in the US, I don't believe everywhere permits like proxies. There's still some stores that might have a limit on the number of cards or what cards. Uh, I believe there's been some conversation on the past on other channels, but over time, and especially with like community and player support in these bigger events, and I think that's why a lot of people like going to these cEDH events and, they can play their either their favorite or the most competitive deck, just however they want to approach it. And just most of the expenses are going to be tournament entry and travel expenses. But, if you were to have just whatever you would like for a list available, uh, what would you still play Lumra or would you be picking a different commander?
if I could play any deck in a tournament,
Yeah.
honestly, no, I think I wouldn't do that because I have the possibility to play any deck in my social group and our
Hmm.
social pod. And I'd argue, sure, there are definitely better decks than Lumra because let's be honest, Mono Green is completely dog shit and it only works because Lumra is broken. Shout out to Wizard of the Coast. Please give us green deafening silence. Please, I beg you.
Oh God, no! Please not like this.
uh, no, I personally enjoy Lumra way too much. Sure, at one point I got to the point where my friends told me, okay, Schuster, are you playing Lumra 1 or Lumra 2? But besides that, no. Actually, here I think I'd still play Lumra because I still enjoy the deck way too much. It's the most played deck I have, and I still enjoy it. I think even more in the beginning because now I know what to do, and that makes it even more fun to me to know how to solve the puzzle at any given time. Especially when friends talk to me like, "Okay, we did so much against you, Shoes, and we're still not able to stop you." And then I'm sitting there like for 50 minutes explaining them what they need to do exactly to remove my way of winning the game. And they say, okay, and then you can't win anymore. And I'm sitting like, bro, if you remove those 5 pieces, you deserve the win.
Thank you, Schusta, for coming on and hanging out with us and just giving us an insight on the Eastern EU scene versus, I don't know, United States even. Mainly just as a whole as the Austria scene. That's so wild.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it, and I hope I didn't talk too much.
No, it was a blast. Is there anything that you want to shout out before we go?
Shout out to my thumbnail editor, to my boy Calabara and Value, and I love you all for playing this wonderful game, and hopefully one of you guys will one day also try out Lumra. And thanks for having me, Austin and Titus.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Really enjoyed it.
If y'all stayed with us this long, just please consider giving the episode a like and follow and subscribe. And comment down below how you found us. Our Discord and the links to our socials are in the description below. And introduce yourself and the community. Additionally, if you're interested in one of our playmats featuring this sick logo by Fox Tattoo, let us know.
And if you want to see some Lumra gameplay,
Mhm.
please be sure to check out Schusta on their channel. And you can also see the cool things this Chonky bear can do.
Chonky
Lumra doing
girl.
Lumra
Chonky
stuff.
girl.
You will never forget the specific explanation for Lumra, right?
People love the word chonky.
Chonky. It's just so
Yeah, I
fun to
love it.
say.
Yeah, chunky girl.
All right. And lastly, just remember, like Schusta kind of said earlier, it's just a game. Be nice to yourself. Be kind to others. And let's carry on. Thanks, guys.